Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of GeekVerse podcast. I am one of your hosts, the little Tom Taylor Field, and I'm joined by.
I am the Nut Lord, Kirkland Patzer, better yet known as the Donut Lord. But yes, that's me.
Your name threw me off when I was reading it there. It's like,
I'll explain later on. If you're interested,
came off in
hopefully I
November.
didn't just deter a bunch of listeners with my powerful name. But yeah, if you're interested, stay tuned.
We are here to talk Sonic 3 spoilers. Sonic the Hedgehog has finally graced our theaters, and before we get into all that stuff, we're going to drop a few plugs. You can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook. You can also find us on Patreon, where you get ad-free, exclusive, early episodes. Lots of good stuff there, including all of the Superman Reeve films, Supergirl, and Superman Returns as part of our Superman retrospective in celebration of Superman coming, the James Gunn project, a whole bunch of Superman. So definitely go and check that out if you're interested. Also, is a bunch of ad-free exclusive early content, and it is home to our Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Mud, Sam, Superbad, Mike, The God Loves Me 69, Jeremy Renner, and Charlie Randall. You folks are fantastic. We love you. We thank you. We just, we dream about you. You guys are fantastic, and thank you so very much for everything that you do. What do we got cooking? We have side quests, like Gazoo coming out of the Wazoo. Gazoo, yeah. We did a Indiana Jones Great Circle review. We did some TGA post-trailers coverage. We have a Kraven the Hunter review that's on our feeds. We have the War of the Rohirrim review.
Gosh, that was all this month too. Can you believe that? That's crazy.
I know. I'm not gonna lie. I think I feel burnout because it's like, holy shit, we've done so much.
We're itching towards our holidays too. I feel like it's rough.
it's rough. It's creeping in, and
it's all good content.
It's all really, really good content because we got Dexter that we're starting up our reviews tomorrow. We got Creature Commandos. We're sliding that to tomorrow because we're gonna be talking about the Superman trailer also tonight. We have multiple newscasts that have been dropping as well the past 2 weeks because there's been so much news that's just been going off the charts. So yeah, there's something for everyone. It's just going crazy right now. So be sure to check the feeds for all of the latest and greatest Geekverse content. But unless I missed anything, Kirkland, feel free to give us like a quick retro recap of like your Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Knuckles TV show, and then give us your non-spoilers for Sonic 3.
Most days go on and I don't remember Knuckles is even a thing, and I'm sad I went through that because that was a rough review for me. I feel like that might have been the hardest reviews that we did, because even Halo, that was a bad show, it was still like enjoyable to talk about it with like you guys and just the ridiculous things that were happening. Like, sure, the show aggravated me at times, but it got so silly that I was just enjoying it, and there was also moments that I was enjoying. But with Knuckles, it was very few and far between of the enjoyment level for me, and thankfully, because I never think about it, I didn't really have that shadowing, no pun intended, over me going into this movie. I feel like just all of the trailers and the idea of what the plot is got me super hyped. And I thoroughly enjoy the first two Sonic movies. I feel like I haven't really revisited them in a while. Like, I haven't I probably have never rewatched the second movie, actually. I've seen the first one a couple of times, but I didn't really feel the need to go through all of them leading up to this. I feel like just the idea and setup of what it was, I trusted that it was going to be just a good standalone title. And in fact, some of the people I went with tonight, they had never seen any of the Sonic movies, and they said not necessary. They were able to have a good time, and honestly, having a good time is what I had with this movie. I think it was a really good. Maybe I'll say this. One of my favorite video games growing up was Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And I feel like this movie is a recreation of what that game is, for the main story at least. And there's many things that they do kind of deviate from, but it feels like the same pillars of what the story is follow the events of what that game is. And if you're like me and you really enjoy that game, I feel like you are gonna truly enjoy this movie. I just had a great time at the at the theater this evening. I was laughing throughout. The theater was pretty full, honestly, and I felt like everybody was having a good time. All ages were in the theater. And it was funny because everyone was laughing, it seemed, at like different periods. Like I don't think there was one laugh that came out where like the entire theater actually laughed like in synchronicity. I think there was just goofy things going on that just caught me off guard, and I just burst out laughing. And then yeah, there was one liners that would just not hit at all, but then like the other members of the theater were laughing. So I feel like overall it was just, yeah, people were super positive in my theater about this movie. Um, there's moments where I don't, yeah, like the humor doesn't fully hit with me, but that's a next to impossible task these days, to, especially for like a family movie, like get every joke hitting everyone really well. Um, there's yeah, so enjoyment wise, definitely, I'm gonna say like two thumbs up for me right now. I think it was really awesome. Shadow is probably my favorite Sonic character, like besides just the main boy Sonic himself. I feel like, yeah, I love the idea of what Shadow was back in the day, like a more dark and gritty. You know me, I'm all about my Sith, and like red and black is just always like contributed, like, or not contributed, attributed to like the Sith characters, and of course Shadow is just kind of like a darker version of Sonic with like Sith like powers almost to an extent. So it makes sense, my alignment there maybe. But yeah, no, very interesting character, and I think they did a really good job with him in this movie. I again, like it's pretty much what you get in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, but yeah, I thought Keanu Reeves was really good as the voice for it. I still really liked Sonic, Tails, and like even Knuckles. Like it's nice to just have him. It's like the thing with me and Aaron Taylor Johnson, where like I just like him as a side character so much more than him in the lead role. And in his show Knuckles, I feel like honestly he's not even the lead role. He got weighed for that. And I'm just gonna stop bringing up that show. Maybe I'll bring up one more thing later on in the review. But yeah, no, it was a good time. There is some like technical issues that I have, and maybe just some weak story points that it's just like, really, we're just throwing that in just to get to this point. So it's kind of lazy in that sense. So it's nowhere near perfect film. Jim Carrey, man, like say what you will about like what actually like the writing is for like the specific character. I honestly enjoyed it. I think especially his performance, like he is going 110% in every single scene that he is in, honestly, throughout every movie. Like Sonic 1, 2, and 3, I feel like he's always got it. And this one, it's ramped up literally times two. And like he's just the type of goofball where like I feel like, although maybe not all of the forced humor works for me around the character, I'm just drawn to him, and like my eyes are just on him. Like he just commands attention, I think. And I can only imagine what it would have been like on set of him just like doing some of these sequences, because like he's playing two characters in this, and a lot of the times they're just going off of each other, and I'm like, this is just so wild. But no, respect, man. Like he earned that paycheck. He went all out on it, and yeah, no, it was a great performance. I'll say there. And yeah, no, I think that's kind of my overall thoughts right now, spoiler free wise. I really liked the little game Easter eggs that they have pretty much throughout the whole movies. Like I think the first movie maybe had more than what the second one did, but in this one it felt like it was ramped up again on just, yeah, like the Easter eggs, whether it was a theme song or an idle animation that some characters are doing, or they run through a sign and it like spins around like it would in the game, all the way to, like, minor spoiler, there's a big action moment and they literally just play the theme song of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And like, you know, like for me, like where the hell is that video? Where the hell is it? This was
just as sure as a rock is covered in chills already.
And I feel like the surrounding scenes about like around that moment wasn't really hitting me, but just the combination of what was going on and the theme song, like literally just as sure as the rock had chills. That's where I was. So yeah, I had a good time with it, and I'm glad that I feel like this Sonic universe, I am like envious of, like, let's say, like I think my past self is envious of where I am right now, just because like when I was in the peak Sonic mode, when I was watching like the TV show, I had the VHS recordings of episodes, playing Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, playing Sonic like 2 on Sega Genesis. Like I was just in that sphere. I like if these movies came out at that age, it would have just totally blown my mind. I think like I it would have just I would have been in awe. So I am glad that I'm able to enjoy it now as pushing almost 30. I'm I'm getting up there. So yeah, no, it's good. Good movie.
Right on. Yeah, I I think that the first one caught me off guard because yeah, Jim Carrey he's great. I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan. I love the guy. He's so freaking funny, and he's such a he's such a wonderful just like I don't do I say like manifester. Just a person that can just optimistic and will things and just just preaching good energy. He's just such a character, and for him to be in this role, just being his kooky, quirky self, it's great. And I love how, as you said, he just really amped it up in Sonic 3. I was not expecting him to be in Sonic 2, and then here we are, another film, and we have him back playing two different Eggman characters, which is just mind-boggling. So these movies for sure have definitely been tapping into the Sonic verse a little bit when they introduced Knuckles and Tails through that first one and the second one, and then the Knuckles show, which that Knuckles show, yeah, check out our review, but it was not the greatest. For me, the highlight in this movie is Robotnik, and if I had to pick one of the characters, I really really like Knuckles, and I always found Knuckles was always he was always such a tricky character to unlock in those OG Sonic games. Can't remember the one. Was it? So I got the original on my phone that I still play, and I have number 2 on my phone. I want to say maybe it was the third one.
I think 3 is when Knuckles is there, like in the intro. Sonic
and you have to get the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah, the intro, like you're Supersonic, and then Knuckles like steals it back from you, and then that's like the start of Sonic 3. If I'm not mistaken, I'll pull that up.
I think you're right, because it's either that or maybe Sonic 4. Okay, maybe it was Sonic Advance 3 for Game Boy at Game Boy Advance. Yeah, that's what I played my heart out.
Oh, is that where you play as him?
You can unlock him by getting the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah,
so this is a 2004 game. So this is a much more later one, but this one had it had the whole roster like Knuckles, Tails, Sonic, Amy, and then it also had I can't remember what her name was. There's another character that was in there you could play as, but I digress. I think that this movie, not perfect, but it was definitely engaging. I was having a fun time. And I think you said it spot on. There were many different times where, okay, these jokes are hitting this part of the audience, and then these other jokes are hitting this part of the audience. Oh, Sonic and Knuckles 3. Okay, that's not
Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It's kind of a weird title, but yeah, that's the
weird.
Sega Genesis one that I remember getting. But sorry to interject.
No. Yeah, that's definitely not the one I tried. So yeah, I think that the fact that they can set this up where everyone has a little bit of something that they can laugh at, and the jokes were really hitting with my theater. My theater was fairly full, actually, to my surprise. But everyone was laughing. There was a kid right behind me who I think they were crying at times. They were calling Shadow Sonic, but that's okay. And they were just...
Like how old? Like pretty young? Sub 10?
I'd say sub 10 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they were having a great freaking time. And I got two applauses. As soon as credits rolled at the start, everyone was clapping in the theater. And then after the next post-credits scene, everyone clapped again. It was nuts.
Wow. My group was clapping. We were the only ones clapping at the end of the movie. But also, how many end credits was this? Because I only watched one. There is 2. Oh my god, this happened again with the last movie. I walked out of the theater like right away, and then, of course that's when they hinted at the Knuckles reveal. That's so funny because we were sitting there, end credit plays. It's like, okay, that's nice, and then talking with some friends, and they're like, "Is there another one?" I'm like, "No, there's not going to be another one. So let's just go." So yeah, we'll discuss that in the spoiler section.
Well, oh man,
I normally do Google it, but I'm like, no, there's not gonna be 2. Come on, this is already an end credit here, and it was a long end credit.
It was a long end credit. The guy in front of me, he whipped for the second post credit scene. He whipped his phone out and filmed it. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'll take a quick photo. I don't know if I should share that photo. And we get the spoilers. I'll send it to you privately so you can see it, and then I'll
pull it up.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
Perfect.
I think it was just a great time. It was a really a big large amount of fun seeing this and just everything going on. And yeah, it's cool to have all these different things that they've established in this universe kind of come together and create this awesome narrative and this dynamic. I will say I think James Marsden's character felt just completely
Tacked on.
unneeded in this movie.
Tacked on. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
100%.
my gosh.
There's
Just
one moment I feel like you could maybe make an argument on the importance of him being there. Actually, a couple moments. So maybe I'll try and play devil's advocate when we get there. But yeah, I'm not even that bothered by it because I feel like the human moments have always been my least interesting part of these movies. I'm always more interested in our hedgehogs, echidnas, and foxes, I guess. So yeah, and I'm just glad that like this is a universe, like a cinematic universe that I can just enjoy. You know, like they're not perfect movies, but it's not atrocious. It's not like I'm watching Sony movies. You know that Marvel Sony weird echelon that we were covering. So
Mhm.
glad that's over, at least for
Mhm.
now.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think that pretty much covers our non-spoilers thoughts, unless you got anything else you want to slide in there.
No, it's a good spot.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go into our spoiler-free section here
Arr.
in 3, 2, 1. All right. Where are we going to start off? What do you want to talk about?
You're so kind. This is where we're gonna start off with. We are gonna start off with our main hedgehog, which is not Sonic, Shadow the Hedgehog. I got to the theater pretty damn late, even to my standards. So I actually walked in when like some action was already going on. But you know, I saw the main meat and potatoes. I at least saw like the opening Sonic 3 with the again, it's literally like the logo is the logo of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. You know, if you got time, maybe you can pull up the comparison just for your own. Because you played that game, right? I know
Adventure Battle?
Jessica was a big fan of that one. We've played it on the Gauntlet in the past.
I think that's the only
Um,
time I played it is in the Gauntlet.
Okay, on the Gauntlet. No, I was obsessed with that game, and I feel like this whole movie overall is just such a good credit to what that story is. Um, but yeah, no, the opening I thought was really just a good place to start with the whole setup of I guess the threat of what Shadow is. I get like it's pretty much the opening of what Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is. So I think like right away I was just excited and yeah, no, it was a good way to start the movie and his whole kind of motivation and just yeah, his path of what we're following for that specific character throughout the whole film. How do you like it? Because for me, this is like I love this character. Like the first time I think I ever saw Shadow was through that game, and it's pretty much this that we watched. And yeah, he's just like a dark, dour guy, very upset with the world, and just ready for vengeance. And of course, he's just like Super Saiyan level in comparison to everyone else. But yeah, how do you like Shadow?
I thought he was awesome, and I feel like when he was first introduced, after he broke out of the prison island, and then we see him walking through Tokyo, it was like, wow, I feel like John Wick because you got even Keanu Reeves voicing
Dude,
him, and the
totally.
rain is
Yeah.
hitting him, people walking
It's the
by.
Baba Yaga.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Oh, and he gets on the bike with the gun after. I'm like, yeah, this
Yeah.
is Baba Yaga for sure. So I was really digging it. He did a really good job voicing the character, and yeah, he's just full of woe is me, and I love seeing him interact with our team Sonic. I thought that was a lot of fun seeing the characters all together and just his powers. I don't think I ever really fully understood what his powers were. So when he was
Yeah.
teleporting, I thought that's super cool. That's kind of like how he is moving fast, how he's like running on water too. He's just like gliding to like he's got
Yeah,
a lot of cool
his like
things.
his running animation too that they were using. It's like the exact same from the game, so it was just really smooth, like pluck from the video game right onto the movie screen. And man, like halfway through this too, it just hit me. I'm like, imagine if they never redesigned Sonic, and we're like here in the third movie. We probably wouldn't have gotten a third movie, but like we're here with a third movie, and we have Team Sonic. Like, imagine what Shadow would have looked like if we had that Sonic design. Like, what a that's one of the greatest cinematic decisions in history was to completely redesign that character.
I'm telling you, like Sonic 1 was made, they did the trailer, they had that film ready to go, and then everyone saw the horrendous
Yeah.
like Sonic, and so they redid Sonic. But that movie had Tails in a post-credit scene, so I'm telling you that there's a version of Tails
Yeah.
that looks pretty shitty like Sonic used to too. It exists
100%,
out there,
yeah.
and I
Looks
want
like
to see
Weasel.
it. Yeah,
We're watching Creature Commandos right now. Very
That's right.
Weasel like.
but that would just
Yeah.
be absolutely horrible to see a shadow like that.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think we would have been here. Those movies I just don't think would have done well financially. But yeah, they did redesign it, which is great, and we got to be here. And yeah, in terms of Shadow and like just Keanu voice acting, I feel like I never would have like fan casted that, but in hindsight, that's like this. It's just like the perfect pairing. I haven't played Sonic Adventure 2 Battle in a while, but in my like distorted memory, I feel like the voice is very similar to Keanu's voice. Like the voice in this movie, it felt very much like the Shadow that I played in the Shadow the Hedgehog game or Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And again, like it's probably not, but still, like because Keanu's not doing a voice, he's just Keanu. Like I guess he's doing John Wick, but but how much is John Wick not just Keanu, right? I feel like all of his characters are just versions of him. So, well, that's kind of a redundant thing to say, but still, it's just Keanu.
I know what you
Anyways,
mean.
in terms of his powers and such, yeah, I think when it comes like for me and like Sonic's powers, like in the video games, I never think of what it kind of is in these movies. Where in these movies they put like a big emphasis on his quills, right? Like he just harnesses this power. It's like electric. It come like his eyes glow, and then all of a sudden his quills are like lit up, and then and like it makes sense because he kind of does that animation in the video games, and then this is just like a different explanation for why that happens. Whereas in the video games, I feel like it's more so he's just moving fast, and that's why it looks blurry or like a blue distortion. But yeah, like in these movies, I never really like think too much about the origin of Sonic's powers because we don't really get anything about like his species, right? Or like anything else like that, or just why he has powers and why Tails doesn't, or Knuckles kind of, well, I guess he's super strong. So they all do kind of have their own something about them, their own power or quirk. But yeah, so because I've never like thought too much about Sonic's, here when they were like explaining Shadow's powers and such, I feel like I didn't really need that at all. It does make sense story wise why they do have to explain it because he generates chaos power, and that's why they because I don't think it's anything like that in the video game if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure he's just like a weapon. Not so much an emphasis on the power that he makes, like chaos power. And I could be completely wrong by this. I haven't played that game in a long time, even though I did play it a lot. A lot of it was in the Chow Garden, which is hilarious that we went there. But with Shadow, yeah, no, I think it worked for the story. And when he's like blinking around, I kind of just took that he's moving like that fast. It's almost like in Dragon Ball Z when you see characters just like teleporting, but they're just like moving really fast, so it looks like that. And like the animations just look so good. Like all of the Sonic stuff, whether it's the powers or the characters, chef's kiss. It looks so beautiful. It looks pretty iffy when we have like human characters just standing in front of like a super bright London backdrop, and it's like, oh man, this is like volume. It's funny how, you know, a while ago we were like just praising the volume, but now that we've seen it so many times, it's just so obvious to see. And that's where a lot of those scenes felt. You know, kind of, you know, look at it like this, like some of this with with John Marston's character, but yeah, I think just all of the animated character stuff, it just looks so beautiful, and that's kind of just what I've been echoing, I think, on all these reviews that we've been doing, is just all of that. I just want more of it because it looks so great. So I don't think we're ever gonna fully go there. I think we'll always be grounded in the human world, but I don't know. I still like it. It still looks good.
It would be cool to go to one of those other worlds. I remember when that first Sonic movie had the Green Hills, and it was just like, this is a super super cool, like, just, it's all of course CGI, but dang, it looks nice. It looks super super awesome and smooth. But I'm okay with it being on Earth. There's a lot of fun that they can still have there, especially just them walking around fighting in like Tokyo. It just looks super cool. The neon and
Oh,
just
yeah.
him moving, like driving on his motorbike, going up the building, and Sonic like in his ball form smashing into it. Like it just was
Mm-hmm.
so visually appealing and satisfying to witness.
Mm-hmm.
Really liked it.
Yeah. Cool. And then Shadow. Oh, I feel like I had. Maybe I'll just list off a couple Easter eggs that I noticed because I feel
Yeah,
like I'm gonna forget
please
about
do.
them as we go along. So at the start of the movie when they do like their land race, I thought that was just really, I don't know, it was fun. I feel like it got a little bit like cringy when we got to the camp, and again, it's just like introduction of John Marston's character, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot how much I don't love Tom in these movies, and that was our Cyclops. This guy here, he is just being the Donut Lord. And yeah, the reason why my name is that is because later on when he's wearing the Donut Lord shirt, when I first saw it, because it's like a D and then a literal donut, like a 3D donut, and then it just says Nut Lord, and I literally just read it as Nut Lord, and I just laughed so hard to myself when like he's just standing there as the Nut Lord, and it was goofy. Maybe I'm just a
Oh
little bit
no.
dyslexic, but yeah, it was terrible sweater. I'm sure it was warm, but I thought it was just so cheesy. But yeah, when they're doing the land race, of course, he runs by the sign, does like the little spinny thing. But then also when he gets to like the finish line, and then like Knuckles and Tails are just waiting for him, it's revealed that they're holograms. But just like they're doing like the little foot tap, which like on the old Sega games, if you just don't hold your controller, like Sonic would
Oh
just do that
yes.
and like wait for you. So I thought that was fun. Um, I well, we'll talk about the ending, but I already mentioned like the theme song that played that just totally got me. Just super hyped in the chills department. Um, what else? I feel like they're gonna hit me as we keep going along, and certain
Mhm.
scenes remind me of things. But yeah, no, damn it. There was another one that I had, but then as I was talking about something else, it fleeted me. But I'm sure it'll come back. But yeah, where do you want to go next?
Well, one of the only other Easter eggs I noticed was when we were looking at Tom and I can't remember the lady's name. They were
Yeah.
together in the home after Sonic and Co. left, and they were just taking up all these hobbies because they were just on their own. And while we were in their home with them and they were talking about all their hobbies and stuff, the music playing in the background was like a soft piano of the like Sonic theme. Pretty sure it was like the loading screen from the original
Mm,
Sonic. I could be mistaken
that's
because
cool.
it's been a while, but it was just a super soft like melody off the piano version. I really liked it.
Oh, you reminded me of another one when what's his name? Tom and Maddie. That's her name.
Maddie.
Maddie. When they're going in to put in the USB and then it doesn't work and they take it out and then they blow on the cartridge
Oh
and then it's
yeah.
like it's not proven to work and then it just works, which is just hilarious because that was what everyone did back in the day and it would
Oh
work
yeah.
for whatever reason. And then and then that was always what was said. It's like that doesn't actually do anything. It's like okay, well I think it does because it literally worked for some people. So that
What did they
was
say?
another one that I
90s
kind of
best
yeah, that
decade.
it went on too long. They're like, "Oh yeah, '90s best decade ever." I'm like, "Oh, shut the fuck up. This is so stupid." And like again, that's where like other parts of the theater were just giggling and stuff like that. And I'm like, that is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. But no, I thought that moment was kind of funny. So yeah, as we keep
Mm-hmm.
going, more
As we keep
more
going.
Easter eggs will bounce out at me. But Dr. Eggman, we got two of them in this movie, which I not my favorite version of the character. Like if I have to be honest with myself, I feel like just the classic big paunch Eggman with like the super lanky legs and just like the big goggles. I feel like that's just more iconic to me, especially because I was such a big fan of those games. So that's just like the big villain in these games. But I do appreciate Jim Carrey's version in and of itself. Like it's hard to do that cartoon. Well, he's doing a cartoon character very much so with all of his mannerisms and just going off the rails. But yeah, we got two different versions of him here. And as I was saying in the spoiler free section, I feel like there's moments when I'm just like I can't believe that like you know this is the golden inked script that got that got him back in this character. He read this. Yeah, no, this is Oscar level. I'm hyperbolizing a little bit, but still. And but throughout the whole thing, like I'm just totally locked in with this character. Like I can't not just stare at what is happening in front of me, and it's just yeah, he got me many times. I feel like a lot of my enjoyment was like humor wise was just around those two characters. I was very surprised that they did like a fourth wall break joke too. Felt very like Deadpool-y, which I thought was hilarious when it's like it's almost like we're two characters played by one actor in a movie, and then they just turn and stare at the screen. That got pretty much the whole theater laughing at that moment. But yeah, no, he went all for it, and there was a moment I just couldn't believe like what was actually on screen, what he was doing. I'm like, man, this guy is like he's not a young buck anymore, but he's like still has this energy of like all of these famous roles that he's done, whether it's Ace Ventura or The Grinch. Like he's just always been at this level, and he is not slowing down for Dr. Robotnik. He's going all out, and yeah, no, I think I just liked also the main hitting points of what the plot was with the dynamic of the grandpa and him.
Yeah, well said. I'm going to share my thoughts of Robotnik after this quick ad break. And we are back. So for me, yeah, Jim Carrey is for me growing up, Jim Carrey is now where I'm at in my life, one of the last of the greats in my opinion. And for me, my greats are Robin Williams, Jim Carrey.
Short list.
Yeah, very short list. Those are my two. Growing up, they were my childhood. They were just always making me laugh. I absolutely loved them. They were so funny. And so Robin Williams went. That was just one of the worst days of all time. He's such a kind person. And with Jim Carrey, I just when he said he wasn't going to go into acting anymore and that was it, I thought, that sucks. And that's why Sonic has kind of like a very important place in my heart, because I really thought, this is going to be his last hurrah on the big screen. And he's so freaking funny. But to see him go through with this and just, as you already mentioned, that's the times two of just different characters and just giving it his all. It's great because, yeah, he does tap into those moments of Ace Ventura and The Grinch and whatnot, but he still feels like there's a little bit of his own kind of unique kind of thing he's putting in here, whether he just starts talking in different languages, because he'll just be like, I speak French. and I love how it continues on, because then Gerald comes out and he's like, I know, I speak French. It's the same thing, and it's stupid, but it's funny, and it's the way he sells it.
Man, the one that really got me was when he like says like Spanish to Shadow like at the end. It just totally caught me off guard. It just credits come up. Or not credits, sorry, like subtitles. But yeah, no, I like the different languages he was incorporated.
That too, when he was first introduced in this movie, when his henchman was trying to prove his innocence, and he's this like Spanish like soap opera thing going on. I was laughing at that, and then when you see him just there watching it, and he just looks so grungy, and his robot like pours like the sauce on his burrito. It opens up, and like the
microwave is like the dirtiest thing ever. I was laughing so hard at that moment. Yeah.
Oh, that's gross. But yeah, then he's just like playing on his big gut, and as he turns around and everyone's there, that got me. That was hilarious. And they actually really shaved his head too.
It looked authentic. I'm like, this reminds. Yeah. I'm getting PTSD to our 24-hour stream.
Oh yeah. So that was 100% legit, and yeah, everything from that, him putting his suit on, like him not even being able to fit the suit on, and the guy's like, I don't have the proper materials. He just rips his shirt off, like all those silly, stupid little.
And the whole back of his jacket was just like the guy's shirt. The whole movie.
Yes.
That was funny.
Yeah, and I do love his wardrobe. Like I've. Ever since the first movie, I know the first movie he was very different. He had like the full head of hair and the smaller mustache, and like his like much more like lean as a Robotnik, and with his suit. And then the second one, he got his more red suit on, and I've just loved every iteration of him. He's just looks so cool, and after seeing him in these movies, it actually tempted me to like want to cosplay as a Robotnik and
Hell
like
yeah.
do like his
Grow that mustache
style.
out.
Grow the mustache out. Yeah, because his style is just I really like it. And yeah, he's just like always like he makes that deal with Sonic's crew to team up and go figure out where Shadow is and who's stealing Eggman's tech. And he's like, you know what I want? And then Sonic gives him a quill. Like, this is weird. And then he like buzzes it and gets his high off of the quill.
Yeah. He's doing like fentanyl hits off this like fucking
Yeah.
hedgehog quill.
Which I guess exactly is what his grandfather is doing. Which it's hard for me to kind of, I guess it makes sense with the time jump of 50 years, but it was just hard to kind of see between like, I guess his sister would be the girl who was
Maria,
friends with
yeah.
Shadow, Maria.
That's something that I wish they at least touched upon at some point. Like, well, I guess old Dr. Eggman says like you're no Maria at some point, but really they don't ever mention anything about that. Like he's never, and like I guess I don't really need that from the character, but I would have maybe, yeah, I think I would have preferred to at least have some sort of acknowledgement of who this character would have been, because I don't know, does that mean that like our young Dr. Eggman was like that same age when all these events were happening, or like how different parents, like I don't know, just I was a little bit confused about where it aligned, because they just didn't really talk about it.
And Gerald, he said he was 110 too in this movie, which makes him pretty old.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like if it's just his grandpa, like they should be not so close in age, at least appearance wise. I guess he's 110, so there's some separation there. But yeah, old bastard.
Old bastard, yeah. But he, at the end of the day, I think they're kind of dispute at the end and them kind of like fighting each other. I don't know why, but that just made me laugh because he
me
goes
too.
into like scorpion mode, and then like good Robotnik is like Mantis, and then he does this. It just happens so seamlessly where his little wings come out and he's like ha, and he like glides around and like pierces his mustache.
That's like where I
Holy
was having an out of body experience, and I'm just like, what am I even watching right now? And then like of course it makes me think of like the on-set things, because this just would have been Jim Carrey, probably like someone filling in just to like actually have someone to look at, but who knows? Maybe not. Maybe he was just on his own, and just the faces that he's doing, and like the little mannerisms and just weird noises. I was just like, I just couldn't stop laughing the whole time that they kept showing his little grass or praying mantis hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
so freaking good.
defeats him with a quill to the ass and just gets shot up into the sky.
The kids in my theater lost it. I like one needed like an inhaler or something because he was laughing and losing oxygen. Like, oh my god, that just hit them.
Yeah, I feel like there wasn't a lot of kids, like as many as I would have expected. Like there was a couple groups of families, but it wasn't just like, you know, sometimes you go in and there's like, okay, there's like a birthday party. That's how many kids there, because they're like taking up a whole aisle or like 2 aisles or something. Yeah, I was just kind of surprised about the age demographic in my theater, but yeah, everybody was enjoying it. It seemed
Good.
very good.
Oh, so what else do we got here?
So we got Gun, right? The big government agency.
Yes.
I can't remember the Guardians United Nations or something. I don't remember what their acronym is, but yeah, they're like the big threat again in that game, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. When you first meet Shadow, they're like trying to recapture him because he escapes from the Gun operatives, and we have Director Rockwell, played by the great Kristen Ritter. I knew like she was in this, but I also completely forgot that she was in this, so I was still just shocked to just see her on screen.
I was too.
Not the best character, like especially for Kristen Ritter, like being such a phenomenal actress as what she is. Very much like a nerfed role. Like it just didn't seem like they were really using her to her full potential. The one moment that I actually just burst out laughing on, or laughing at, and I was just surprised it happened, was when Tom and Maddie are doing like their disguises, and then Maddie, so they're like married, right? Tom and Maddie, they got married in like the first movie or something. Maddie like turns into Kristen Ritter, and James Marsden's reaction was just like, oh, like he's just like ready to go now. He's like, all right, this works. And I was just like, I cannot believe they just did that joke. Like it's so obvious that he just got all horny for the idea of his wife being Kristen Ritter, and I just laughed so hard because it's not even subtle. It's just quick, and
Mm-hmm.
I just burst out laughing. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was so hilarious, and I feel like the movies overall never do jokes of like sexual innuendos or something, and it just he looked ready to go right in that moment, like, oh yeah, like let's do this.
Yeah, the
And
fuck me eyes on.
yeah, exactly, the fuck me eyes, and then she punched him right away. It got me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she definitely caught me off guard playing this character, and you're right. It definitely was a little bit more kind of like brought down. I thought it was funny when they were in the emergency building, or not the emergency, like the vault of the gun headquarters, which you were very close, or actually maybe you were right. The Guardian Units of Nations.
Oh, I said United Nations, so
United
definitely
Nations.
deviated there.
When they were basically like magnetized down to the floor, and they both like Robotnik looks up and sees the key card, and she does too, and then they like start like weirdly like bodies like snailing towards it. That was really funny.
That was one that did not get me at all.
no.
I was like, this is way too long. This is taking way too
It
long.
was a long scene. But yeah, no, I think she was great. Could have had something a bit bigger, but very weird too. Justification because we get Walker, maybe commander of Gun, basically meets in this
Walters.
Japanese Walters meets in this Japanese
The Chow Garden.
the Chow Garden with
Man.
Sonic and Co.
I another moment I just absolutely burst out laughing, and I think it was like just my group that was laughing in the scene because it's like the Chow Garden. It's the most like deep anime, like Tokyo, like just with like the Japanese music going on. People are dancing in costumes, and it's just like so over the top, like anime weeb like, and and then it goes to our gang, and then just this just like commander general wearing like an army uniform. He just sits down,
standing out.
and then he just does some like really depressing exposition dump of just like, this is the origin of Shadow, and his murdered all these people, and like the music just completely shifts, and it felt comedic because it's just such like a wild spectrum comparison. I know there's a word there that I can't think of to describe it, but it was just such a like a polar opposites thing, and I just like it would be his story, and then it would go back to the Chow Garden, and then it's just like over the top fun things that are going on, and then just back to him, and then like right after that he gets murdered, and they just like lift this like piece of rubble off of him, and he's just like, he looks charred almost and just like dirty, just dying. I
was
just
not expecting.
I could not stop laughing that entire scene because it was just such a wild like character insertion. Like he just was so of the environment. Like he just seemed like he was plucked out of like another universe in comparison to everyone else in that scene. And like, why is he alone? Like why
no
is he
guards, no one else with him.
It's so random. Like why do they have this meeting here? They just never even had to explain that because he just died 2 minutes later. And
He's got the photo of them in his pocket, and then they're like, Kristen Ritter's like, "Oh, never trust an alien."
Oh my gosh, yeah. So stuff like that where I'm like, okay, this is just weak as fuck, but the actual what was going on, I was laughing at, and that was another, I guess, Easter egg is like the Chow Garden from specifically Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. They had a big element of the Chow Garden, which is like when you're not doing missions, you can go to the Chow Garden, you can raise your chows, which are like those little creatures. And I guess that's another Easter egg that we kindly led myself right into remembering was when our heroes for Team Sonic escape, they're running down the street, and they're each wearing a Chow head. And in like the mechanic, I'm saying Chow a lot now. It's kind of losing its meaning now. It's sounding weird in my mind, but in the Chow Garden, you can go there with any character, any like playable character, and when you interact with Chows, it'll like change their behavior. Like if you have like a dark side character, you'll make like an evil Chow, or it's just like there's so many elements to the breeding of Chows and like customizing, and like if you raise it as Knuckles, it'll look more like Knuckles, like it'll just have those traits. And then there's like relay games and stuff you can play, so then like they would be like stronger if it's trained by Knuckles, for example, or if you're Tails, they're like flyers. So like again, like just hundreds of hours probably spent into the Chow Garden for me back in the day. But it was cool because when they were escaping, each character was wearing like the version of their Chow if they would have raised it.
Oh,
So it was
cool.
like the Tails one, the Knuckles one, and Sonic. So I thought that was cool. Again, like it's subtle. It's not like an over the top Easter egg. Like Dylan and I just did Rohirrim and minor spoilers. There's like a moment when a character is just like, "Oh yeah, there's a wizard out here, and he goes by many names," and then it's like tailing off, and it's like, and his name's Gandalf. It's like, okay, guys, like we fucking know who this is. Like you don't have to just dummy it down for us. But yeah, it was nice for it to be not like so nudge nudge elbow like, hey, this is a video game reference. Like I feel like they're subtle enough. If you know them, you'll catch on to them. But if not, like it's not taking you out of the movie. Like I feel like sometimes other properties do. Like
Yeah.
Rohirrim in that one example.
That's cool. I did not know about the chows and that kind of Easter egg with their representation as they're wearing those masks. I just thought it was freaking hilarious when the missiles started going and the people in these mascot suits. I felt like it was like they were friendly, but then they were like pushing people out of the way, like get the fuck out.
It's like a hellfire, like airstrike nuke coming right at them. It's like wild.
Yeah, that cracked me up. But very cool. That's just the full on like Easter egg sequence in there. Then that's really really cool.
Yeah, the whole Chow Garden. And it's cool because it was like the big feature of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and that's just another thing on why I feel like this movie is just like a remake of that, and obviously a major factor on why I enjoyed it as much as I did. Another, I don't even know if I'd call it an Easter egg, but just a nod is when Shadow goes on his motorcycle, which is just so random. It's so random that he has like a perfect motorcycle that fits him. It's like got his aesthetic to it. I'm assuming he can't just supercharge like any vehicle. Like it seemed like it was very like tuned to his power. And he has this handgun that he never uses at any other point in the movie. It was just mostly to be like, hey, remember the game Shadow the Hedgehog? Because that's like in that game you ride on a motorcycle and you have guns and shit. And this was a lot more of like a maybe a more appropriate version of like instead of just having him with like a Glock 10 just fucking shooting like he's the super predator, it was more of like a laser blaster. Like it was just a like different audio effect. I'm like, yeah, this makes more sense in a kids movie as opposed to just having him with like a Glock 10. But yeah, he never uses it again at any other point in the movie. And there's no like mention to like why he has that device. I guess the professor might have made it for him, but it just seems weird that he would even need it because he's just so powerful without weapons and stuff.
Which device?
The handgun when
He
he's on
picked
the
it up off
motorcycle.
the ground, right?
Oh,
'Cause
did
took
he?
out all
Okay.
all the gun
I
guards
missed
and he
that.
stole it.
Okay, sorry, I missed that. I thought he just pulled it out of his pocket. So I definitely missed that. So that makes more sense. But
Well,
it just felt like a credit to like the game Shadow the Hedgehog because it was like the exact same imagery, right, when he's on a motorcycle.
oh, absolutely. On the note of things that the doc would have actually made for him, I mean, he did whip out that like black hole sucking or like
That's true.
sphere, right? So there's that, and then we saw him after he meets up with Robotnik. He starts using his like jetpack shoes, which was really cool.
Yeah.
How he's just floating in the halls. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So I feel like Robotnik, or I should say Gerald, actually kind of decked him out with some stuff when they met
Yeah.
finally.
No, that's true, and that's again like another like I guess example on what he got out of like the gun research. It looked like when they like pulled him out of the meteorite, he already had the boots and everything on, and there is
Yeah.
no explanation. It's just I was always under the impression that like Gunn gave him that stuff because he is this like military weapon, so of course they're gonna be like souping him up. And actually, you reminded me too. I remember in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle because he never has this like chaos power to what it is. Like he uses the Chaos Emeralds to really pop off and like do the blinking that he does. So I always just, and I don't even know if it was just my own headcanon or if it was actually explained, but I always just assumed that he had the rocket boots because in the video game, when you start moving and you get like full tilt, that's when the boots turn on. So I always said like that's how he's able to go as fast as Sonic. So Sonic is always faster than him. So he has these like gadgets to be faster. And then of course he gets the Chaos Emeralds and then he starts just really getting to what more the Chaos powers are. And now that I say that more, it's funny because they are still calling it Chaos powers. It's just they're not attributing it to the Chaos Emeralds, which is probably more to what like I'm not gonna say the true canon, but like the original stories and stuff kind of went about. Because yeah, and it like with the black orb thing, I just imagine that would have been again like the professor turning his natural chaos energy into like devices and obviously for gun, because that's how they got this big, Star Killer base, right? Like the Death
Right.
Star, essentially. It was the gun guys that wanted to make it.
Yeah. Yeah. That space station was freaking crazy.
Yeah.
My goodness.
So in the again, going to the game, Son of Fish 2 Battle, like the big Death Star thing, it's actually just called the Ark.
Okay.
And it's like a base in the moon. So the moon is like revealed to like break off, and then it's like this. It literally looks like the Death Star, but it has like Eggman's face, and that's like the weapon. It's kind of Doctor Evilly in the sense of like, I'm gonna destroy the world unless you give me $1 million, or like, whatever it actually was in the game. But that was kind of the difference there, is it's like a space station as opposed to just like this big weapon. But I mean, when it's actually moving around, like it's very similar in the game. It starts like crashing towards Earth, kind of like what happens here. Well, I guess it's not really crashing towards Earth, but yeah, it's firing on Earth. So just very similar in that sense, but a little bit different.
That cracked me up when Jim Carrey's, again, Robotnik, they successfully moved the firing beam off of Earth, and he's like, "Oh, I did it! I did it!" And then it like slices the fucking moon in half. And he's like, "What did you guys do?" Like, it's just so seamless, and I was not expecting that. That was just a crazy shot. But in the fallout of that as well, that if the station blows up, it's gonna have all this like, it's gonna basically annihilate the Earth with the radioactive atmosphere. And Sonic here Shadow really shines because he kind of cements himself in his hero mode with Robotnik, because they both team up to save the
Earth.
save the Earth. And I really like that scene a lot. That was a lot of fun. I had
Yeah.
another thing I want to shout out, and I have it no longer on my mind.
One of my favorite moments was like when that like theme song comes in, when Sonic and Shadow both go super mode, and they're just popping off, and that's like the last level in the game, and that was like just always my favorite climax sequence, because there's two campaigns in the game. There's the good story, and then there's like the evil story or dark story, whatever you're calling it. And the last level on both of those campaigns was either Sonic like handling the Ark or Shadow handling the Ark, and they're very similar missions. So like depending on what character you are, that's when you go like super mode, and you kind of just handle the biz of what it is. But yeah, I like that moment. I found it hilarious when it just like goes like freeze frame and they're like posing in front of the camera. It like goes slow mo and they just stand there. I kind of chuckled to myself.
That was
But
cool.
yeah, no, I did like the whole climactic ending, and I don't know. I thought it was a decent enough like evil reveal from like the older Robotnik. Like he's just so angry at the world, he's just gonna murder it. And he's like, and then us too. And then just like again, young Jim Carrey, or young Dr. Eggman, as Jim Carrey, is just like his reaction and like, wait a minute, like what did I sign up for? And just his what followed was just really hilarious for me, because we already kind of talked about the battles that they did, and it was just so goofy and wonky, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're going to take probably our last ad break here, and we'll be right back. I keep just remembering different things with Robotnik, like when they had those suits on that were like reflective, and like we talked about it off air briefly, but the whole dance number was so quirky, and like when
Long too.
it
It was
was
a
very
long
long.
sequence.
It felt like a Blades of Glory kind of moment, because Gerald just like he like jumps up and wraps his legs around Robotnik's waist and his like arms back, like a full on crazy performance. I enjoyed it. It made me laugh. It was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I was so shocked when it happened, because it like it's like CGI level of just movements. I'm like, this is like, it's clearly not Jim Carrey doing some of these actual dance moves here. And yeah, I thought it went on very long, but I enjoyed the most of it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It was just so wild. Like it's just like so random. Like we
wild.
could just dance in there, and then they just do these like almost Fortnite level emotes. Like it's just so ridiculous. Everything that was going on with the lights didn't really make sense. How like their heads weren't getting just decapitated,
I
because the suits
know.
only go up to the neck.
That
So
made zero sense.
and like you could see like lasers like bouncing off of them, and it just didn't really do anything. So a little bit inconsistency there, but I don't know, minor.
The other thing I want to shout out was I love Knuckles in this movie so much, and it just pains me that Knuckles show did not didn't do better, because he's so freaking funny in the way he talks when they're like 1, 2, 3, Team Sonic, and he's like Team Knuckles. Like, Idris Elba does such a great job voicing this character. He just cracks me up with his humor and how he's just like talking and mumbling about like oh, my teeth are also muscle. He's so freaking funny. And then when we get this moment here where he's scared of ghosts, and it cuts to like them watching Casper, and he like starts to like scream and squeezes Sonic and Tails' hands, and they're like freaking out from the pain. And it cuts off after that where how does Knuckles say it? He's like, ghosts aren't friendly, or that ghost wasn't friendly, or something like that. He's so freaking just adorable. It just cracks me up. So he's definitely a highlight for me in this. Uh, Tails was just, yeah, he's cute. I liked him having that little one-on-one moment with the henchman, Robotnik's henchman, where he's like, oh, I'm best friends with Sonic. I'm not as like subservient or anything like that. Like, it's just like, you're friends with Robotnik. And the way the guy is just like, I don't, I think he was okay in how it was, but I would have loved a scenario like a Tim Curry from Home Alone 2 quivering like the bellhop, like after he was slapped. Like, I would have loved it if you get that moment where he's like, yeah, I am friends with Robotnik, and then give me like that tear and like the quivering lip. That would have been
Yeah,
good.
I feel like that was a character that I enjoyed. I enjoyed him the most in this movie out of all of his appearances. And like the humor that was meant to be funny off the character, I feel like didn't really work for me. It was mostly just like seeing him and his reactions to like things that were going on, and like when the two Robotniks are like going up and they're like, yeah, you guys stay back and keep the crab on a low boil, he tells them, and then he's going down there, he's like, come on, Shadow, I got some avocados, we can make some guac. And it's just I just like burst out laughing because it was so fucking random, and I'm like, this character is so goofy, but it very much fits, and he's extremely loyal to Robotnik.
I forgot about the guac. That was really funny. I can't necessarily think of anything else. Do you have anything coming to your mind? Any more Easter eggs?
Easter eggs? Not so much. You brought up Knuckles, and yeah, I was so upset as soon as Wade appeared. I completely forgot about that character, honestly, until he appeared on screen. And yeah, I was just grumpy because the whole like thing with the Chaos Emerald in this movie, I thought it was so fucking lazy. Like, they're just like, no, we can't use it at all, no matter what. We all signed a pact, we can't use it. As soon as they need it, it's like, okay, let's go get it. And then Knuckles is like, no, I'm gonna fight you now, which is like a big build up moment. And then he's like, you can't make decisions right now. You're so angry. I'm gonna kick your ass. And then what does he say? I'm going to trust you because we made a friendly pact, even though you're not trusting me right now. And then he just lets him go, gets the Chaos Emerald. Like, he's the worst fucking guardian of the Chaos Emerald I could have ever imagined. The Master Emerald. I keep saying Chaos Emerald, but the Master Emerald. And then the Chaos Emeralds, I guess, are a part of the big Master Emerald in this universe. But yeah, I was just so bothered by how easy it was. Where, like, he went through a portal, and then it's just fucking Wade, who we don't even need to have him in this movie. I was so grumpy because he just reminded me of Knuckles, and I'm like, for fuck's sake. Like, I was audibly upset when he appeared on screen. I was like, shaking my head like, oh, I hate this. But anyways, yeah, I thought that was so extremely lazy. It's just, yeah, no, we don't have the Chaos Emerald. I keep saying that. The Master Emerald. And now we have the Master Emerald, and now I can just go up into space. I don't really know how else they would have got into space. I feel like maybe Tails could have like crafted a ship or something, because he does have at least like a biplane in the games. I feel like it's plausible that he would have made like a spaceship. But you got to have the big Super Sonic and Super Shadow like appearance at the end. So I'm not bothered by the use of the Master Emerald. I think just how we got to it was just so lazy and just so so stupid. Like have Knuckles be like, yeah, no, I think we need to use it, and here it is. But
Yeah,
so
I agree.
that bothered me.
Oh, well said. I forgot actually that they were gonna. Well, I shouldn't say forgot. I didn't expect them to actually tap into it and use it. I totally believed them when it was mentioned, like, oh, we're not able to use it. We had a pact, and that was going to be it. But seeing that power with Shadow and Sonic was like, that was nice.
Yeah, it was cool how it worked. Where like Sonic is just super. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm passing you my
Yeah, it
sore
went through the
throat.
mic. It went through the mic. I caught what you
Gross.
had. um, I like the big battle of Supersonic and then just Shadow, like straight up. Like I thought it was very good visual wise. They go to like some like ancient like Roman like architecture ruin or something. They just completely destroy it, but it's very anime like, which is the scale of the explosions and everything that was going on. So I was chewing that up. I was pretty shocked when he just punched him and he went all the way to the moon. Um,
Yeah.
Fuck, it happened though, and we went there, and I don't know, it kind of fit the overall movie, but it was just strange to just see him get punched all the way to the moon. Anyways, and then they just go to collide, and then of course that's when they both get the power, and yeah, I don't know, it worked for me, like the use of it. As I kind of already touched upon, I just had more issues with how they got there, but no, I thought the battle was really awesome. Maybe a little bit too easy how like Shadow turns over. I guess you have like the comparison of what happened to Maria and Tom, and like very similar. I did like how Shadow kind of like got that similarity. Like this is the exact same thing that he was feeling for Maria. It just seemed like it seems like we skipped a couple steps, I think, which is the overall transitions. And even with Sonic, like I just feel like he turned really quick to like be super angry. I get he was upset over Tom, but I feel like the buildup of the last couple movies has been about like Team Sonic. And it's just like, no, fuck the team. Like I'm gonna go on my own. And I'm like, I feel like we're just always been here. Like this is the first, second, and third movie, like same rationale through like Sonic's mindset. Curious what'll happen for the next title because the team's just only gonna be growing now that we keep getting like a new version. Were you surprised that we don't see bodies or anything, so no one's truly dead if you don't see a body? But both Robotnik and Shadow. Or no, Shadow was in the end credit in the second one, right?
Oh, you do know. You did see the end credit.
I didn't see it. I felt something through the nether sphere.
I didn't
Might have
even
seen
send you
something
the
on
photo
Google.
yet.
Oh, you got a photo for me. Okay.
Yeah, Shadow is definitely alive. Robotnik, that's where it ties into the first post credit scene.
With Metal Sonic and stuff, because
Exactly.
wasn't that created by Robotnik and
It
like all the games and
was.
everything? So that's where
Exactly.
I was confused because it seems like Robotnik has his hero turn, right, in this movie. I guess it's a common enemy, so it makes sense the hero moment.
Yes, and it all depends on how they're going to tackle the story. Because did you see the Sonic 4 news that they dropped this week?
No, what is it?
From Variety, Paramount Pictures, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is coming spring 2027.
Couple
Yeah,
years.
couple years. So who knows? You might see Jim Carrey coming back to play this character again.
If it's a golden script.
If it's golden script, yeah. So
Did you
there
send
you
me
go.
anything?
I will send you the photo right now so you can.
Because
get
I like the
gander at
first
it.
end credit scene. Of course, seeing Metal Sonic as like a big villain. I thought that was great. And then I thought like the Amy appearance was just really hype.
Yes, that
In
was
the
pretty
video
cool.
games, and even like the old show I used to watch, Amy actually always kind of annoyed me. Like she's just super obsessed with Sonic, and she's just like in
The
love with Sonic throughout
ex-girlfriend.
all of them, and like she's just annoying at that point. But her appearance, it was like when Captain Marvel shows up in Endgame or yeah, Endgame, and just completely pops off. Like that's how it felt with her big hammer. So, I thought it was a cool reveal.
The crowd went wild when they figured out it was Metal Sonic. Like my theater was
Oh
just,
yeah,
oh my god, they were just going absolutely bonkers. But in that photo I sent you there, so
just
basically,
some
do you remember
toes.
when Shadow was about to push the spaceship? he takes his
Took
bracelets
yeah,
off.
his rings. Yeah.
That's exactly it. And so in here, in the end credit scene, you see this like crater on Earth, and you see the rings in the crater, and then you see these shoes. Him walk up, and he picks up his rings.
Oh, I see. Cool.
Yeah. So that's basically it, just confirming that he's still alive, which I'm glad. I like seeing the more characters kind of keep on growing and
Yeah.
appearing and all that. So
Yeah, and I think because I did have some issues with just like the speed of like how Shadow's going through all these different decisions, it just was like very simple. It's like, okay, yeah, no, I'm a good guy now. Like they just bonded pretty easily. Now that we're gonna be getting the character back, I'm just hoping that maybe I'll have more time to flesh out the character. Because if he was just like shown here, it would have been a little bit of a rush, like full character arc for me. And yeah, but who knows? Maybe if we see him again, he's just like a straight up good guy, and he's just a part of the Sonic crew now, and there isn't much more about it. But I think there's just an interesting thing about the character is that he is like so dark and like just he has different goals than like what a traditional like Robotnik villain has or something. Because he's not just a straight villain. He's mad at the world and specifically like Gun. He's very powerful, but he's still, you know, he's got a nougaty center. He's still a little softy in there somewhere.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of continue on with that a little bit where, I mean, he's still a wanted fugitive from Gun. Sonic's team and family, they're not. So even after breaking into the headquarters, but you have maybe Gun still tailing after him, and Shadow is just kind of like fighting them off still here and there on the run, trying to hide. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be going elsewhere. He's going to be sticking around for sure, I imagine, especially now that we got Metal Sonic and Amy. So that was really cool. That was really, really awesome to see more of these characters. It's just such a big, loud collection of characters that we got, and oh, it's exciting.
Wait till we get Big in there. Do you remember Big? Big the cat?
No.
He was a giant cat with a fishing rod, and he would. I think he was in the like one of the TV animated shows, but he was also in Sonic DX. That's where they had more of those different side characters. I don't know. I like I said earlier, like my favorite parts about these are the actual Sonic characters themselves, and they just look so good animated wise. So let's just get more of them in there. You know, let's just rack up this budget. Let's get this right up there.
There's definitely a few, like Jet the Hawk, Rouge the Bat, Espio the
Rouge,
Chameleon.
yeah. She was a big character in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Right.
She was like a Knuckles equivalent. So like again, how I said there's a hero side and a dark side. And every time that would be like a Tails level, it would be a Dr. Robotnik equivalent level. Anytime that there was a Knuckles level, there was a Rouge equivalent level. And then of course same thing with Sonic and Shadow. Because it's like there's a good side and a dark side, but it's basically like the exact same version of the character. Just, you know, doing their own levels. But it was still cool.
Have you ever heard of Silver the Hedgehog?
Yes, I did. What game was that in? That was in one of the later
Sonic
ones, I believe.
Rivals.
Sonic
And Sonic Riders. Oh, sporting
You know
characters,
what,
Sonic
though?
and the Secret Rings.
I'm pretty sure I played. The reason why I was exposed to this character, and same thing with like Blaze the Cat. There was, I think, in Sonic DX, there was like a casino level where you like go through and you play like basically pinball. You're like on a pinball track, and there's like different like aesthetics of characters, and I remember seeing those characters in there, but didn't really like experience them through the show or anything.
I'm assuming that well, depending how many more movies we get, they're just going to be trickling in characters in like a kind of a cohesive way moving forward. And I feel like that way is how characters were kind of introduced. Now, I am not an expert on how these characters were introduced, but I feel like originally it was Knuckles, then Sonic, then Tails, then Knuckles, and then Shadow, and then you had Amy and Metal Sonic. I feel like they're just kind of bringing out these characters the same way that they're kind of introduced in the games over time, which is great because you can't just do like Sonic in Sonic 1, and then Sonic 2 comes out, and you just do like Vector the Crocodile, or Bark the Polar Bear, like, or
Vector
Metal
the
Sonic
Crocodile.
Kai.
I forgot about that one.
Just those crazier, obscure characters, but they're all very, very cool, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I hit like all my main points. Yeah, no, I think I'm Easter egged out as well. I probably like there's probably even more that I didn't even catch, honestly, throughout the film. But yeah, I in closing, I really, really had a great time with this film. I'm really glad that I saw it with friends. It would have been, I think, a different experience seeing it alone.
It is.
There was just a good. So you didn't go with Madison? You went
No,
alone?
I was alone.
Yeah, I'm glad you still had a good time though.
Oh yeah.
You're feasting off the energy of the crowd. Where do you sit when you go to a solo movie? Like for me, I notoriously go like in the corner. Like the fucking Harry Osborn gif of me up in the crowd looking down. That's always kind of my position.
You and Travis got weird like spots you got to go to. When
Do you
you're
just
alone.
go
For
dead
me,
center as a solo?
I'm always
man?
dead center.
This guy
Oh yeah,
sitting right
I
next
walked
to
into
like
my
a
row.
group.
I was right in
There's
between
two,
like two
and then
kids.
you sit right in front of them.
Oh yeah,
or
I was
beside
in between two kids from two separate groups, and there's just like one kid. When I sat down, the kid on my right, he moved his drink from his cup holder to the other side of his cup holder and his snacks. I was like, man, I'm not gonna lean over there. I'm gonna lean on the other side. And if you're being mean, I'm just a 30-year-old man alone at a kids movie.
That's fair though. I feel like whenever I sit down, my drink is not going on the stranger's side. Who knows?
No.
They're gonna roofie me or something. Who knows? Can't trust the people out there
No,
these
you
days.
can't. But continue.
I will continue now. What was I continuing? Oh yeah, final closing thoughts. Yeah, no, I had a great time with this film. As a hardcore Sonic Adventure 2 battle fan, this was a good time. I think I would have preferred more of like those classic songs because like they had the theme in here. I think it was like a little bit different. But like I literally still listen to songs from that soundtrack. Like City Escape, that's like an all-time banger for me. And I gotta add that to my snowboard playlist actually because the first level in the game is Sonic, and he's like captured by Gun, jumps out of a plane, and he like gets a snowboard out of like one of the helicopter propellers. It makes no sense, and then he's like snowboarding down like the street. Like there's no snow or anything. It doesn't make any sense. But he's escaping from the city, and yeah, the soundtrack is just popping. So I think personally I would have enjoyed more of it, but for what we got, it was good. So yeah, I liked the whole adventure. And yeah, it was such a goofy, weird time with Jim Carrey in that role, and he brought his A game. I'm okay if we say goodbye to Maddie and Tom going forward. You know, like I guess there are our pillars that keep our characters to this Earth world, but yeah, they don't really do much for me overall in the story. But regardless, I still had a really good time with this movie, and like I was saying earlier, like I'm a fan of this universe. I'm excited to keeping like going with this franchise. And has it just been you and me for all these reviews?
I could have swore Travis was
On the first one?
Maybe the first one, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like we had a third, but regardless, I'm gonna be there for 4. I'm sure you'll be there with me.
I'll be there for 4.
Yeah, hell yeah. So for this movie, I don't really know what I rate the other ones at. I'm gonna give this one, for enjoyment wise, it's tough because I don't remember what I rated at. I like this more than the other ones, so it is my favorite Sonic movie. But I think I'm gonna give it. An 8.9. Not quite that 9 ranking, and like again, it's just based on my personal enjoyment of it. Technical wise, it's probably much lower than that, but maybe not much lower than that. It's lower than that, but yeah, no, this is the movie that I wish I had as a wee young lad, and I still enjoyed it as an old lad. So yeah, 8.9 is my rating tonight.
8.9. Well said. Yeah, so I think Jim Carrey was great. He was fantastic as Robotnik. I loved it. Not all the jokes hit. That's okay. I was still laughing, and it's just a fun movie. You have a really good time with it. The action is awesome, and you have to go in thinking, okay, it's not a perfect movie, but kids are gonna have a great time. There's some stuff in here that you're gonna enjoy as an adult too, because even when Sonic and friends are talking to James Marston, and the dog is like, "You stole my humans," and stuff. Just quick little things like that. That's like subtitles, so not every kid's gonna pick up on that. But if it's jokes for the adults, and I appreciate that, keeping engaging moments for both younger and older audiences. I think that they should absolutely continue doing this universe. It's great. I'm excited that Sonic 4 is a thing, and as long as they keep it to the big screen, don't do any more TV shows, I think we're onto something there. Uh, I'm gonna go probably. I'm not gonna go as high as you. I'm gonna go an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I was thinking maybe like a 7 out of 10, but talking with you and all the highlights and whatnot, eight seems a bit more reasonable because it's definitely a lot of fun, and I think seeing it in theaters is good, but I'm not gonna hold it against you if you choose not to, because it's something you could definitely wait and just watch at home. But it's definitely a good. I'd say it's a very good, actually, Christmas family movie, especially if, like, your kids are into the Sonic stuff and into playing video games in general. This movie is definitely gonna do better than the Minecraft movie and the Borderlands movie. Those are my predictions.
Oh
Although
yeah.
I did get a Minecraft preview when this movie was in the theater, and the kid behind me when. Jack Black's character made like his Minecraft sword. The kid behind me, like, it sounded like he was gonna just ascend. He was like, ah, like, holy fuck. That was like the be all end all moment for him. But
Wow.
yeah, who
That's,
knows?
high praise.
High praise. Yeah. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 review in the books. We will be back with Dexter, Creature Commandos, and all this other fun stuff. And if you don't hear from us, or you're just choosing to drop out now, then yeah, we'll have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and sayonara.
Sayonara. Oh boy.